You will never look at Shiva the same again after watching this video. After today, your understanding of Shiva, the representation when you look at Shiva, will be 10 times deeper. Okay, Mahashivratri is coming, so let's do a Shiva breakdown. Okay, so as you can see here, very first thing is I got these images from Kruti, right? So if you want to check her out on Pinterest, she has amazing drawings. But these are the representations of Shiva, right? Here you can see that the Ganga is flowing out of Shiva's hair. What that means is Ganga represents wisdom. Shiva's, it's like the wisdom, the ultimate wisdom is flowing out of Shiva's hair. The wisdom from the Vedas is flowing out of Shiva's hair, representing the ultimate wisdom, right? Number 2 is the crescent moon. What does the moon represent? The moon represents cycles of time, right? The passage of time. You have a new moon and then a full moon. It's like 30 days and then it goes over and over and over. So you have unending cycles of time, right? And what does Shiva represent? Shiva represents that which is underneath, that is unchanging, right? Even though the passage of time is happening, cycles of time is happening, Shiva represents the unchanging underneath that. What does that also teach us? And that's also connected to the Bhagavad Gita, right? The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that our soul is immortal, untouchable, untaintable, okay? So what that means is that our body is constantly changing over the years, right? You think it's the same hand, but every single cell in that hand has been renewed multiple times, right? So you're not the same. It's always constantly changing. Everything around us is changing except our Atman, the witness, the observer within, that which is, again, immortal, which is indestructible, right? And connected to the ultimate, right? So this is what Shiva represents underneath the cycle of time. So number 3 is the third eye, right? The third eye represents what? It represents wisdom and destruction of ignorance, right? Ignorance is destroyed by having wisdom and the third eye opening, right? All right, let's keep going. Number 4, Nila Kanta, okay? Nila Kanta. Nila means blue, Kanta means throat, right? Why was Shiva's throat blue? Because he drank the poison hala hala to save the universe. And what that represents is sacrifice. It represents protection, right? That's also, Shiva represents the one who will sacrifice for our goodness, and it will protect us, right? So under Shiva's presence, we feel protected, we feel safe, right? So let's keep going here. Number 5 is Vasuki, okay? Vasuki is the snake that is around Shiva's throat, right? And what that means is the snake represents Shiva has overcome desires, has overcome ego, has overcome fear of death, right? Again, connection to the Bhagavad Gita. All these Hindu teachings are connected or interconnected. Hindu teachings teach us that we should not be afraid of death, because death is only, a body is only like a clothing, a piece of clothing that we're changing to, but our soul is immortal, right? So once we realize that, it's like, that's why Shiva is wearing the snake around his throat, because he has realized overcoming the fear of death, right? Overcoming desires, overcoming ego, right? What else does the serpent represent? Where is the serpent depicted? In Kundalini. Kundalini represents, the Kundalini rising represents the energy moving from your lower chakra all the way up to your upper chakra, right? To the highest chakra. This is the energy of Kundalini rising. So this is what Vasuki represents, the snake, right? Let's keep going. Number 6, Damaru. This is the drum, right? The drum represents the universe, the cosmic vibration of the universe, and also the role, or like how the universe moves, right? The universe is constantly expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. So this represents like the dualism of the universe, right? Like that infinite contraction and expansion and the cosmic vibration of the universe as well, right? All right, let's keep going here. Number 7 is the Rudraksha beads, right? What does that mean? Rudraksha represents like meditation, represents stillness, represents like being in meditation. If you haven't watched my video from yesterday, you should watch it, The Purpose of Hindu Life, right? And over that, we talk about dhyana. Dhyana is the 7th step in the 8 steps of the limbs of yoga to reach enlightenment. So dhyana is number 7, which represents mind control and meditation, right? This is where it's connected. So Shiva is Adi Yogi, the first yogi, right? These teachings of the yoga, the 8 steps, the Ashtanga yoga, Raja yoga, Shiva is the Adi Yogi. He's the first one. He's the first yogi, right? So this is dhyana. This is meditation. This is control of the mind, right? That's what the Rudraksha beads represent. Let's keep going. Number 8. Number 8 is the Trishul. That must be like one of the most signature symbols of Shiva, right? The Trishul represents a lot of things, right? We've covered that Brahman manifests himself in 3 ways, right? The creator, the preserver, the destroyer. That's the 3 prongs that it could represent. It can represent the past, the present, the future. It represents the 3 gunas, tamas, rajas, sattva, right? So usually things materialize themselves into three forms, 3 prongs, right? So this is what it represents, right? And sometimes you'll have the drum appearing here as well, and it is like Brahman is the cosmic universe, right? And then it is like the 3 prongs emerging from that, let's say, right? And before I keep going, I want you to know as well that these symbolisms are just like the Gita. When you're reading a verse from the Gita or from anywhere, the symbolisms will meet you at your consciousness level, right? Your interpretation of Shiva might be very literal or it might be very spiritual, depending on where you are, right? These teachings from the Vedas, from Hinduism in general, they are meant to come and meet you where you are and support you from there, right? So my interpretation might be completely different than somebody else's, depending on our karma and our configuration of the 3 gunas within us, right? So that's what I mean. By the 3 prongs, somebody might say, oh, it's past, present, future. Somebody might say, oh, it's representation of Brahman's creation, preservation, and destruction. So the interpretation will vary. Number 9 is Agni. Agni is fire, right? What do we do with fire? Fire is burning of your impurities, burning of your sins, burning of your karma. Why? Purification, right? It is to purification, right? To burning of our impurities and sin that we can burn our karma and unite back with God, okay? Number 10. Number 10 is the tiger skin that Shiva wears, right? Why does Shiva wear tiger skin? The tiger is a representation of primal instincts, right? Within us, we have the animal and the spiritual, right? This is the beauty and the dance of being human, right? We're animals and also we contain like a spiritual side, right? So the tiger skin represents that Shiva has overcome that primal instincts of materialism, craving things, craving like from the senses, right? And also overcoming lust, overcoming materialism, overcoming ego. All these are primal animalistic instincts, right? That we have to transcend and move towards the spiritual, right? That's the point of Sanatan Dharma, is that the law says that we have to find our way back to God. And the way back to God is to transcendence of the animalistic part of us. That's the transition that we have in human life from being animals to being spiritual beings, right? Number 11 is Shiva is often depicted with ashes on his skin, right? With ash on his skin, which represents that ultimately we will go back to the ground, right? Our body will go back to the ground, will be destroyed, and will go back to earth and will be ashes. All right, so I guess my counting is not good, huh? I went from 11 to 13. So Mount Kailash represents where Shiva lives and also represents stillness. The mountain is the depiction of stillness, of detachment from the world, right? Of transcendence, of vastness, right? So this is Mount Kailash. And number 14 is Nandi. Who is Nandi? Nandi is the sacred bull, the vehicle of Shiva, right? And Nandi represents Dharma, represents righteousness. What that means is when you're righteous, when you're truthful, when you're acting dharmically, let's say, right? Like Shiva is, then consciousness aligns with you. Everything aligns with you to support you, right? So that's Nandi, that's the sacred bull. And we have the lingam here. The lingam also is, there's quite a bit to break down there, especially that it's Mahashivratri and there will be a lot of rituals around the lingam. So maybe there's a video coming tomorrow about a lingam breakdown, right? So, but anyway, that's a quick overview of the Shiva breakdown. I hope this video made you a little more aware as a Hindu. Namaste. Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.